Thank you, Vince. It's not fair putting me on after that lot, you know. G'day, well, how are we? Good afternoon? No, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Thank you. As you've heard, I'm editor of Rotary Down Under, and because of that, I occasionally get to jab the stick into the ribs of the sleeping tiger that is Rotary the way we've always done it. I'm no novice at this. I've been in Rotary since 1996. I've attended 2 international conventions, that'll soon be 3, 4 international assemblies, 9 zone institutes, countless district conferences, assemblies, and the like. And most of which these days, at the district and local level, I get the privilege to talk to people such as yourselves. I've led a group study exchange to the UK, the team of journalists, all journalists that was in 2012. I've been a district PR chair, and I've been in 3 Rotary clubs. One of those I was president twice, so clearly I'm a very slow learner. DG Steve has been kind enough to invite me to address you, and I have only one writing instruction. What was it, Steve? Bore it up them! Give them something to think about. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is Rotary of the future. The future of Rotary. Wow. Of course, I have no idea what the future holds for this organisation, but a fairly senior Rotarian dragged me aside about 6 months ago, 12 months ago, and said, look, we need to change, but if that's really going to happen, we're kind of going to have to wait for the current crop of dinosaurs, and I'm looking around the room, to become extinct. And I can see the merit of what he says, but I've got a problem with that because, as you know, the dinosaurs were wiped out by a meteor and they all went out at once. And this organisation is what it is. And if what he says is true, our current crop of dinosaurs are also going to become extinct at around about the same time. And that's going to leave a fairly big hole in Rotary. So, we do have this metaphoric meteor heading our way. And so what is the answer to it? Well, I say that our only real chance for survival is a young, strong, fit, inspired and determined generation of new Rotarians that will withstand the shock force when that meteor crashes into the Rotary world as we know it. A brand new world of Rotary lies ahead. So now let us consider what that may look like. Now, this is usually the part of the speech where I start banging on about engagement versus attendance statistics and things like that. It is true. We need to measure engagement. We can't be focused and obsessed by things like attendance figures in this day and age. Ultimately, for Rotary to succeed with a new generation, Rotary must give its members something they consider to be useful to do from the minute they join our clubs. That something does not include cooking sausages or listening to a boring speaker. We need to wake up to the fact that we are living in a competitive world, not only in business, but in the humanitarian service sector as well. Our competition has traditionally been Lions, Masons, Apex, that sort of thing. Our competition has been joined in the past few years by organisations like GetUp, CommunityRun.org, DoSomethingNearYou.com, and managed well, they don't have to be our competition. Managed well, these organisations could be our allies. If we play it smart, by, for example, registering our projects on their websites and piggybacking off their following to engage local community support. These organisations And how many times have you heard, why are we trying too hard to focus on getting 30 and 40-year-olds to join Rotary? Those people don't have time. They've got kids, they've got jobs, they've got all that sort of thing. Well, these organisations, the Get-Ups of the world, they attract a dynamic, young demographic comprised of people more interested in actually rolling up their sleeves to work, to advocate, or to finance causes that need assistance around the block or on the other side of the world. Like so many other people in our modern bustling cities, they are also time poor, so whatever time they do have for volunteering and humanitarian service, it has to be effective. It has to be worth their time. That is the most valuable thing they have. Our latest membership statistics have us at a little bit more than 1.2 million members, am I right, Noel? That was as of February. In June 30 last year, we dipped to 1.185 million. First time you've heard that in a while. Something less than 1.2 million. But we're back up there now. So that sent a chilling message around the world. But it's not just us. Golf clubs are struggling. RSL clubs. You wouldn't know it, but yeah, RSL clubs are struggling. In fact, RSL clubs are closing. Tennis clubs are almost non-existent these days. Church attendance, even church attendance amongst Australian-born Christians, according to stats that I heard published just last week, they're down to 18% of what they were just 10 years ago. So this is at a time when still half, according to the latest census, still half the population in this country professes some form of religious affiliation. Now I have to be very careful here. When I spoke to your pets in Toowoomba a couple of years ago, Steve, I invoked the line that Rotary was a lot like the Catholic Church, and about that time the heavens opened up and we were on a tin roof. And I had to literally shout myself hoarse to be heard. I don't think... so I'm going to be very careful here. But look, anything that requires a significant and regular time commitment is struggling. I love to play golf, for example. And certainly I'm fortunate enough there is no financial impediment to my membership at my local club. My local club only charges $250 a year, not the thousands that it might cost at other clubs. But my work and family commitments mean that I simply cannot afford the time it takes to justify a golf club membership. I just don't have 26 to 40 free Saturdays in a year. Similarly, most people in their 30s and 40s, mid-30s, mid-40s, just don't have time to sit at a meeting once a week listening to boring speakers such as obscure authors or motivational experts who, by the way, have their books and CDs available at the door for $25 each on your way out. They don't have the $3,000 a year, which is kind of what it costs to be a fully engaged Rotarian if you're going to participate in things like meals, fines, drinks, attendance of district events such as changeovers, assemblies and conferences with their partners. If they've got a lazy $3,000 to spend, they want it to be used as donations to needy causes or for airfares to the club's well construction project in Borneo. They want to spend their money on something useful. The traditional model of Rotary membership is dead or dying. I'm sorry if that's going to hurt some people, and I know it will. There are plenty of really successful clubs operating in the traditional manner. So, I'm not saying anything about those, but there are plenty of clubs that are 10, 12, 15 members who keep looking around, they keep doing the same thing year after year, wondering why people aren't coming to them. So, I always like to invoke the Rotary Club of Crawley in Western Australia. I'm sure you've all heard it, but, what is it about Crawley? Well, there are 100 members. They're aged from their early 20s to their late 80s. They are 50% female and they are 30% under the age of 30. The last I heard, they'd raised hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past 3 years. How did they describe themselves? Well, this is a club that that doesn't even have a rotary wheel on its website. They call themselves Rotary, and there's no rules that say you have to have a rotary wheel on your website. But they describe themselves as the Rotary Club of Crawley, or actually Rotary of Crawley. They refer to themselves in short as ROC. Promotes the development of relationships that make a difference to business and the community. Makes a difference to business and the community. ROC provides its members with many opportunities for service and fellowship with the motto, "Giving has never been this much fun." Now just Google Rotary Crawley and have a look at their list of projects. Their emphasis is on service, and the general look and feel is, it's not all desperately sad images from the developing world trying to tug at your heartstrings, but at the same time, and this is really important, it's not a bunch of middle-aged people of all shapes and sizes cooking sausages at a barbecue, or blokes on a building project bending over a wheelbarrow with glorious butt crack exposure for all the world to see. The Crawley online experience is young, it's vibrant, and it's all about what they have achieved and what they are setting out to achieve. It's about achievement. So what are we going to do about our weekly meeting? Firstly, let's be clear. As I said before, if you've got a Rotary Club of 50, I was looking at Toowoomba just yesterday, there's only 110,000 people in Toowoomba. You've got 6 Rotary clubs, and 5 of those have well over 30 members. That's a fantastic achievement. Well done. I don't know if there are other towns like that in Queensland. I certainly wish there were, but geez, I'll be using that stat the way I use Crawley in addresses to come. But let's say, if you've got 50 members turning up for your traditional meeting, with Rotary Grays, National Anthem, Toast of the Queen and all that, and your service projects are going gangbusters, then please disregard all of this, all that follows. But I'm guessing there aren't too many like that. If yours is like so many other clubs, struggling to attract quality speakers on a regular basis, you need to seriously consider your options. I can't stand, for example, being denied the opportunity to enjoy fellowship with my friends around, my fellow club members, because I have to shut up and listen to a speaker who's ill-prepared, unable to work the technology, and they are there for no better reason than to promote his or her business or charity, or who wants me to buy a CD or book on my way out after they've gone 20 minutes overtime and made me late home for work, late home or late back to work. I can't stand the formality of a president calling for directors' reports from a series of directors who have nothing to report this week. If your club is like so many, you might be lucky to get a good speaker 1 week in 5 or 6, which means that 4 or 5 weeks in every 6 you come away frustrated or worse, wondering why you've just wasted an hour of your life that you're never going to get back. In my Blue Sky Rotary of the future, the members of my club will not be asked to resign for failure to turn up to such meetings. They will, in fact, be getting their fellowship fix by engaging with club members, devising an online crowdsourced funding campaign in the pub or cafe on a Friday night, in a meeting that was arranged on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever the in-social medium of the day might be. Or we could return to the original concept of Rotary, in which we meet at a different member's home every now and then. What's to stop a new president, for example, asking the gathering how many members of the club would be willing for just one night of the year or one day of the year to host all the rest of the members of the club, if all those members agreed that they were going to bring their own food and bring their own drink. So all you've got to do is provide the space. Now, my club at Barrel Mittagong is a little over 50 strong. If we couldn't get 20 hands to go up at that question, I'd be very, very surprised. And that gives you an opportunity for fellowship like no other. This is my home. This is where I live. This is who I am. That'd mean 20 or so social meetings a year. The business could be knocked over informally, and then from that point on, it's fun and fellowship. having set, you know, and that business is, what are we going to do this weekend to make this community a better place? And once you've done that, business is over. Let's have a party. That's great. Plenty of clubs are tackling this situation already, and I look at them and wonder why the rest, the ones who aren't tackling it, you know, those clubs who gather as a group of 10 or fewer in a dingy, secluded function room of the local, dare I say, RSL, sometimes with a sign out the front that says private meeting in progress, go away. You know, who go through all those routine procedures mentioned earlier and then have to feign interest in the address by this speaker who will tell us all about the joys of, I don't know, flower arrangement or something. I hope we haven't got any flower arrangers here. You know, I wonder why people who attend those clubs don't simply get up, walk out and never return. Last year's Council on Legislation spent hours and hours one day on deliberations around attendance rules. And yet 2 weeks ago, my district governor, our district governor, Noel and my district governor, actually told his presidents he wasn't interested in gathering attendance statistics at all. He's far more interested in gathering stats on the man hours worked on projects. He's not going to collect attendance statistics at all. I don't know what our will say about that, but I'm sure he'll find out fairly soon. Clubs in my district and others have for some time now been getting all the volunteers to sign on and off at projects and activities so that each member's actual level of engagement can be accurately measured. Social media can make a huge difference in this field. It doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands of people who are following you, although that is eminently achievable, but a local community of around 400 or so people who have taken the trouble to like your Facebook page, for example, can in itself represent a strong case for sponsorship by your town's local small businesses. But I digress. I spent a lot of my time talking to Rotary clubs, district assemblies, etc. They all agree, yes, social media is the way of the future. You know, yes, we know we've got to do it. But what they don't get, or don't seem to get, is that it doesn't work unless everybody in the club is involved. Get in there, get them all involved. I'm just running a little low on time here, so I'm just going to skip a little bit. But don't tell me you've heard all this before, okay? Because I know you have. You know? But, you know, here we are 10 years further on, we're still only 1.2 million members. The reality is that if each one of us just simply asked a friend to come and join us, you know, we wouldn't have to sit through membership directors, droning on, trying to come up with new ways of saying the same thing. You know, it's not their, you know, don't blame those directors, by the way. You know, it might be their portfolio, but it's our responsibility. You know, the world demands the qualities of youth, said US Ambassador to East Timor, Judith Fergan, at last year's memorable district conference in Timor-Leste. Rotary demands the qualities of youth. We are the world. You know, while you may not be terribly young, and I'm looking around the room, you know, there is no reason you cannot maintain the qualities of youth, optimism, a spirit of adventure, energy, outrage at injustice in all its forms. Get worked up about it. Don't hold back. Get angry. Because through Rotary you have the ability, indeed you have the responsibility to channel that anger in a positive and appropriate manner. And so, my brothers and sisters in this great powerful church of Rotary, I have been to the mountaintop. I have gazed into the brilliant sunshine beaming down on the promised land that lies beyond, and I have had a dream. Come with me, brothers and sisters. Come with me. Raise up your hands. Testify. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Shout amen. Amen. I have had a dream that continues to burn within. And in that dream, you, my brothers and sisters, walk with me into that light and into a world in which Rotarians will take interest in what Rotarians outside their own clubs and districts are doing, to be able to talk intelligently about worldwide Rotary programs, knowing that they have all the facts at their fingertips, because as we all surely know, The more we learn about this incredible organisation, the more passionate about it we become. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Shout amen! I have a dream that those same Rotarians will learn about those same Rotarians will learn about those worldwide Rotary programs by reading Rotary Down Under. Online or on paper, or using the new free app available through Apple and Google Play app stores. I have a dream that one day Rotarians will not be afraid to ask their non-Rotarian friends to come and join them in the spirit of service, friendship, education, inspiration, and action. I have a dream that one day Rotarians, old Rotarians, will no longer refer to middle-aged Rotarians as young Rotarians. I have a dream. That one day I will walk into a Rotary Club meeting and every second member will be a woman doing just so much more than making up the numbers. I have a dream that one day every woman in that club will be wearing 6-inch red stiletto heels just because she can. I have a dream that one day my children and our children will think that Rotary is cool. I have a dream that one day 30-year-old Rotaractors will become 31-year-old Rotarians. I have a dream that one day I will stop hearing about new Rotarians being told they can't sit in that chair because that's where George sits. I have a dream that one day Rotary will not be known for all of its 6 areas of focus, but really what Rotary will be known is that it is a support system for great ideas. I have a dream that as each of the elements of this dream has invoked the spirit of one of history's great orators, I invite you all now to consider the lyrics of a popular songwriter who wrote, "There is a feeling like the clenching of a fist. There is a passage through the darkness and the mist. And though the body sleeps, the heart will never rest." So, let us turn our thoughts today to Martin Luther King and recognise that there are ties between us, all men and women living on the earth, ties of hope and love, of sister and brotherhood, that we are bound together in our desire to see the world become a place in which our children can grow free and strong. We are bound together by the task that stands before us and the road that lies ahead. We are bound and we are bound. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.